Hi there. I'm going to do a review for the new Scary Movie. And not too much terribly big to report about it. It came out recently, a couple weeks ago, so 2026. Stars largely the same bunch of people that starred in the old movies, so not much technically changed. I mean, everything. Scary Movie was never groundbreaking in any way. It was just a spiff ripoff and satire on existing movies. There just wasn't that much to talk. They're just meant to be entertaining for an hour and a half, and that's about it. There's nothing really amazing about it. It does have a few. There's a few almost laughable moments. There's not really much for comedy purely, because unfortunately the entire movie is basically just a mock-up of other horror movies. So it's almost just try and guess the horror movie that it's mocking. And since I'm not a big watcher of all the different horror movie types, I don't. A lot of the references don't always work because all I'm getting is the offhand. There appears to be a couple of them are more familiar, but other ones are just totally lost on me because I really don't understand. Final Destination is definitely in here. I think was it the Saw movies might be in here a little bit, although it's not entirely clear where they're at because I haven't seen Saw in a long time. And what else is in here? Well, Scream's sort of in here. There's always references to be made. Uh, they actually do make oblique references to the fact that, like, Sydney is now getting to be, older. Obviously, I don't think she's actually as old, appears as old as she does in this movie. I think that's the joke, because it's supposedly so old. In reality, I think she doesn't look anywhere near that old anymore in real life. She does look, she's definitely getting up there, but I don't think she looks half as old as she does in this movie. It's just she was always the in joke of the blonde, played by Anna Faris as usual. Not much. It's a funky movie. I don't think it's particularly funny. It was never. They were never about being funny. It's about deciding what they are ripping off and what are they making a joke about. And obviously, that's the joke, is that they're not really trying to do very much with the movie. I think the biggest problem with that is that they run into a problem where they don't really know all together what they should be doing with all their concepts and who they're playing. Some of the old characters are back, like Tiana's back, and what do they call Shorty, and Brenda. These are all characters that have been going back to the first movie. And of course, they make the mockery of horror movies, because every once in a while you do have to make this movie where you have to make the joke about the fact that nobody knows how to run outside. They always run upstairs, so you got to make a joke about that. In the first, I think it was the first Scary Movie, though, the killers were handled pretty good. That was like the thing, though, in the old Scream, in the movies that these movies are primarily ripping off, the Scream movies. Scream already did a certain amount of joke about rip off and in joke about the killers, because the killers were the guys were merely meant to be the joke. Like they weren't particularly good. Like they weren't professional, so it played them like they weren't professional. So they actually got their butts kicked a few times more than they should have. Because that's the thing, is that they're not really professionals, so they're kind of mocking it up, acting it up every once in a while. Of course, some of their victims actually did genuine damage to these guys because they're not really big on it. They're kind of just the in joke of killers. It's actually funny who shows up in this movie. Actually, Shaquille O'Neal shows up in here for a second, because at the end they had this huge problem where they just had to keep having the new guys show up to take the place of the old ones, because of course I think it was supposed to be making a reference to was it the those movies with Keanu Reeves in them. Oh, forget what his name. I forget what those movies are about. Basically, the where he's got to do all the stunts involving the guns and getting rid of people. Um, Also, two new kids are on the block apparently. Was it Sarah and Tuesday's a of course, the movie has to make oblique references to the fact that it can't use direct names because of copyright issues. Tuesday's played by Savannah, and Sarah's played by Olivia. And I don't know, there's something familiar about them for some reason, although I'm not entirely sure what it is because I don't think I've seen these people before, some of these people before. Carmen Electra is back as a bartender, although in the first, I think she was gone in the first movie. Nonetheless, she's sort of back. This movie, of course, makes fun of the usual minorities of America with the usual references. And I think that's one of the reasons why people like these movies is because it does make oblique references to stereotypical prejudice in America, is that, look out for the black people. But nonetheless, it doesn't take itself too seriously. I think everybody can get the joke pretty good that that's supposed to be the joke. They don't do ever a particularly bad job of this movie. It's all right. I mean, there's nothing amazing about it. It's not meant to be amazing. It's just a movie that's good, merely good enough to be a decent movie. And I think that's the only real problem with it. There's not much to talk about here because they kind of run out of references really quickly. That's the biggest problem, is after about the halfway point they run out of references. And then they have bigger problems at the end, I think, because they just don't have that much to talk about, and they have to repeat a scene. But I mean, it's all right for what it is. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's fine. It works. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. I mean, if you take a scary movie seriously, you're going in for all the wrong reasons. This movie's about how silly it can actually get before you go completely berserk with your movie references. The entire point of Scary Movie is to say, this is what we're going to make fun of in this one, and this is what you're going to do. I mean, you can laugh at it all you want, or you don't have to laugh at all. It's not meant to be... It's meant to be treated as an hour and a half of mock-up humor of existing franchises. That's really all it has to be. Movies have been made fun of before. That's all it does. It never tries to take itself be all that with it. So it works out. I don't mind them. I mean, they're getting kind of old, but I mean, it's a scary movie. They'll never not find a movie to make the mocking of. So they're all right. It works out in the end. The whole plot, I think, has got something to do with the fact that somebody's coming back, but I don't think that really matters. The plots don't really matter in these movies because their plots don't really mean anything. It's about a killer that has come back and to take on Cindy, except for the fact that, I mean, that's already been happening 26 times in the previous movies, so there's nothing new there. So, of course, they have her being this freak that lives on the corner house that's all barbed wired and everything, and she's the silly girl, she's the crazy girl, and that's about all it is. That's about all it is. Yeah, not much to talk. It's not that bad. I mean, it has the obvious moments where booby traps lay and people walk into them and things happen, and then they move on. Not a particularly good movie in terms of movie making, but in terms of what it is doing, it's doing a proper job of that. That's all it needs to do. Again, Scary Movie, they've been doing this for years. If you're watching these things, you're used to the formula. It's basically a mock-up. Actually, I didn't mind the scene involving, right at the start, they were involving the people talking in front of the carnival area, because they're showing the various rides of the carnivals falling apart and messing up, the Ferris wheel falling off its line. To me, that was, I mean, it's nothing really technically all that funny, but it works. It works well enough. But yeah, I don't think there's anything terribly much to complain about in this movie. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be just once-off humor. Again, the plot doesn't really mean anything because it's just a mock-up of other plots. So what's going on doesn't actually mean. I mean, I actually couldn't quite figure out what was actually going on in this movie, because it's basically nothing is really going on in the movie. It's just the murder. The guy's going around and they have to deal with the same thing, but it's based on prior people doing prior things. it's making jokes out of all the characters. I think there was the one scene involving the movie involving people trying to look beautiful. I can't remember that movie. That, like I say, there's too many almost too many references these movies make. You're trying to keep up with what the reference is. And nonetheless, it's referencing all kinds of things. There's a movie that came out about 1 or 2 years ago that was about women trying to look beautiful, and I think that's what the one scene was supposed to be mocking. I think that's what it was supposed to be mocking. And then there's other scenes that they're mocking. So, yeah, all in all, it's a scary movie. It's fine as long as they make enough money to keep them even remotely within the red and black. It's fine. I don't expect anything big major from these movies. I've gotten used to what kind of films they are. They work out. They do a good job. They do a fine job of mockery. That's really all they need to do. But there it is, scary movie.